So today I'm going to talk about stakeholders. Sometimes when people look at job specs or they look at a document and they see stakeholders, they sort of panic and they think, oh, what's a stakeholder? In very simple terms, a stakeholder is a person or group of people who are impacted or have an interest in the outcome or in the delivery or in whatever you're doing. And this could be a project. It could be that they're interested in a deliverable, they're interested in an outcome, or they're interested in something that you're involved in. Now, I'm talking about this holistically, not just from the perspective of project management, because you have stakeholders everywhere, even in your personal life. And I'll explain that in a bit more detail. But the other side to this coin, which a lot of people don't consider, is the stakeholders are not just those who are actually affected or have an interest. They are also a group of people who perceive themselves to be affected or interested in your project. Those are the other set of stakeholders that people don't often think about. And this often becomes a big problem when you don't take care of those people you may not necessarily have thought of them as people who are affected, but they perceive themselves to be affected. So a good example would be a couple of years ago, there was an incident in Cape Town where the council decided to, remove cars that were not roadworthy from the road. Now, the particular mini buses that they were targeting were, in their heads, quite unroadworthy mini buses. So they decided, okay, this is not safe for people. We're going to take it off the road. Now, they probably consulted people, but they didn't consult some of the people who were perceived to be affected by these. And these are the other people in the community who run those routes. So the local bus owners. And this caused a huge conflict and lives were lost. I think quite a number of people died from that conflict. That's an example of poor stakeholder management. So when we talk about stakeholders, we talk about these people, but the stakeholder management element of it is the effort, the procedures, the skills, the competencies we use to manage these people, whether they're actually impacted or they perceive themselves to be impacted. Those are your stakeholders. So at a very high level, that's what a stakeholder is. And I said this holistically because sometimes when people think stakeholder management or stakeholders, they think about it from just the standpoint of a corporate perspective. But even in your personal life, so a bit of humor in here. If you were a guy and you were asking a girl out, tell you who her stakeholders are or who your stakeholders are going to be. Her friends, people she listens to, because they're interested. So even the ones that you may not think they're interested, but they perceive themselves to be interested, if you want that effort to work, you're going to have to find a way to effectively manage all those people that are stakeholders. So stakeholder management is something we do on a day-to-day basis. So it's not complicated. It's a term that people don't know that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, but in fact, it's something you do. That's a stakeholder. So it's that whole concept of who's affected and who perceives themselves to be affected. Those are your stakeholder. So you see, it really isn't rocket science.